I'm Karen and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share my grandmother's custard pumpkin pie recipe. It's almost Thanksgiving and it is a great time to try out a new recipe. Before I start mixing up the filling for the pie, I'm going to prepare my crusts. I bought crust just from the grocery store in a tin pan because I want to make it easy. Now, if you take it like this, obviously everyone will know that you have a store-bought crust. But if you want to make it look like you actually made this crust yourself, I'm going to show you a trick. So these were frozen, but they've been sitting out so they're thawed now. You have to start with a thawed crust. So I'll get in here with my fingers and I'm going to just take this crust and I'm going to just start pinching it. Just like if this was a regular pie crust that you rolled out and you put in the pan, I'm pinching it just like I would do a regular pie crust. And when I get all the way around this pie crust, it's gonna look like it was homemade. All right, I pinched the other one off camera. I'm gonna move my pie crusts over here just to wait for our filling. I'm also gonna put it over, this is a neat little gadget or a couple of gadgets. These are pie crust protectors, and they'll keep my pie crust from getting too dark during the baking process. So I'm going to put that pie crust protector over each of these pies, and they're ready for my filling. To begin, I'm going to put in 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Then I'm going to add my other dry ingredients to the sugar. 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 of a teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 of a teaspoon of cloves, and 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. That's my dry ingredients. Then I'm going to add the eggs. Now, I told you this was my grandmother's recipe, and hers was a custard pumpkin recipe. And there's more eggs in this recipe than most pumpkin pies. So I'm gonna kind of whip those eggs up a little bit and add those to the sugar. Whisk that. Get those dry ingredients and those spices really blended in that egg and sugar mixture. It's easier to blend those spices in when you don't have too much liquid in there. Then I'm going to add, this is a can of pure pumpkin. Be careful, do not buy pumpkin pie filling. You want to buy pure pumpkin. Get that pumpkin blended in, little short whisks. Again, before I add my milk, it's easier to blend with it thick than before you start getting it too thin. That's all nicely mixed up. Then I'm going to add 2 cups of evaporated milk. If you want a richer pumpkin pie, you could add 1/2 and 1/2 instead of evaporated milk. But before I finish that, I'm going to add one more item, some vanilla. This is my favorite vanilla, Molina. Sometimes it's hard to find, but you can find it on Amazon. This is the only vanilla that I bake with. A lot of pumpkin pie recipes don't call for vanilla, and I don't want too much vanilla in this, but I want just a little bit of vanilla because that's what my grandmother did. Now, I'm just gonna gently whisk this milk into that pumpkin This recipe is going to be the exact amount that you need for 2 traditional 9-inch pumpkin pies. Not your deep dish, but your thinner traditional pie crusts. So I'm going to go ahead and divide the filling into my 2 pie crusts, and I'll meet you at the oven. So I've set my temperature for 425. I won't cook them the whole time at 425, but I'll get them started at 425. So I'm going to gently slide these pies in, close the door, set my timer for 10 minutes. And then in 10 minutes, when my timer goes off, I'll come and I'll turn the oven down. Okay, so our timer went off, so I've turned the oven down from 425 down to 325 and reset my timer for 25 minutes. That's when we're going to check these pies and see if they're getting close to being ready. So the first 25 minutes, they weren't quite ready, so I cooked them for another 5 minutes. When you get ready to check your pumpkin pies, you can stick a knife in them, and if it comes out clean, they're ready. But I really don't want to mess up my pie with a knife, and so I can jiggle them, and if they're not jiggling, I know they're ready. So I'm going to take these pumpkin pies out now. The pumpkin pies are ready. They're out of the oven. They are beautiful, and they are ready to go in the freezer. It is a week before Thanksgiving. These babies are done, and I can mark this off my list of things to do for Thanksgiving. Before I wrap this up, I want to show you a little trick about freezing baked goods. So the more air you can get out of your Ziploc bag or your container, the better, and the more shelf life that baked good, pie, cake, cookies are gonna have in the freezer. So I'm gonna slide this in my Ziploc bag. I'm going to zip it up almost completely. Then right here, I'm going to insert a straw into that little space, and I'm gonna suck the air out of it. There. All the air is out of it, and this pie would last for 6 months in the freezer, but we're gonna pull it out in a week for Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen today. If you liked my recipe for pumpkin custard pie, give us a big thumbs up below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and to see more recipes, kitchen tips, and to see our products like our chicken and dumplings, go to notimetocook.com. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you next time.